Today, we hear about the Ten Commandments and how it should be a blueprint for our lives. Last Monday, we were down in Carmel for a seminar. He's led, and the main speaker was Father John Ricardo. And he told us this story, which I thought fit in real well. He said, some years ago, at a church where I was serving, the parish embarked on a sizable expansion project. Suddenly, one day, a small trailer showed up in a parking lot. Very early each morning, 2 men would enter the trailer and spend 30 minutes or so inside. Then they would emerge, put on their hard hats, and walk over to the construction site, where they would spend a number of hours. Around lunchtime, they made their way back over to the trailer and would spend another hour or so inside before heading back to the construction site. Later in the afternoon, before going home, the 2 men would enter the trailer and spend no small amount of time there again before finally departing for the day. This pattern continued for months. So, what was in the trailer? What was so important there? In that trailer were the blueprints, the detailed drawings on how the building was to be constructed. We all have been involved in putting together a project of some kind. Some of us have followed those instructions to a T. Others may have discarded the instructions after a time of frustration, while others, like myself, never look at the instructions until we hit a snag. Instructions are included with a project for a reason, to make it easier to assemble, but it's our choice to use them or not. Today, in our first reading from Exodus, Moses is meeting with God, and God is presenting Moses with a set of instructions by which the people need to form and live their lives. These instructions are short and easy, but hard to follow. There are 10 in all. God gave us these not to be taken as suggestions, but as a set of commandments. And as sons and daughters of God, He expects us, His children, to mold and live our lives according to His commandments. The 10 Commandments are the blueprints for the building of our lives, and with God being the architect. The commandments are nothing new, unchanged since Moses received them from God. At times, we seem to become comfortable with them, using them or not using them for our own benefit. At times, we become comfortable with our lives, feeling that we have reached the point of perfection. Guess again, it's time to go back to the trailer and look at the blueprints again. God wants us back in the trailer daily to renew and to re-examine our blueprints, to continue to find those little flaws in our lives, to take the time to correct these flaws before it ruins the whole build. Being comfortable and confident with the directions in which our lives are going can cause us to head off in the wrong direction. Let me tell you a little story about myself as an example. Years ago, when I was working construction, we were building houses. We were working for this company. We built many houses that were alike. And I was issued the blueprints and the job of erecting this house, building this house. We've done this house. The crew had done this house for 5 times already. This was like the 6th time. So I grabbed the blueprints, I looked at some of the measurements, and I put it away, being confident because we've done it so many times before. So we set out and started out. By the afternoon, the third day, we had the floor on, we had most of the outside walls up. And here comes the superintendent. He walks around the house a little bit, starts to look a little bit. He walks over and he says, "Joe," he says, "where are the knee walls?" I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "The blueprints calls for an 18-inch knee walls on top of the poured concrete walls to give us more headroom in the basement." I said, "Oh, the print said that?" He says, "Yeah." Boom. So we went to the print and looked. What I failed to do, I looked at what I thought I needed to. I skipped over the small print. And yes, there it was in small print. This house requires 18-inch knee walls. So we spent the next 2 days tearing down the walls, laying them out, tearing down piece by piece, putting them out in the lawn, and raising the floor up and building knee walls under it. We lost 2 days of our build time. To what? To being overconfident. So, going back to the trailer and rechecking the blueprints is something we all need to do. We need to do this at times. Problems and roadblocks will happen to all of us. When these occur, we can either give in to them or go back or go to the trailer and look at the blueprints for help. So, where is our trailer? And what is the blueprint? The church is our trailer, and Jesus is the blueprint. The church is in our backyard, and Jesus is always present in the church, waiting for someone to come in to check out the blueprints and seek his help to bring our lives back on track. But yet, if we still feel overconfident, we feel that we don't need help, and our lives are still going, let's look at what St. Paul said in that second reading, how he finished that reading. He said, "The foolishness of God is wiser than human wisdom. The weakness of God is stronger than human strength." St. Paul also tells us that Jesus is the power and the wisdom of God. We need to go back to the trailer, and we need to seek out the blueprint for help.